cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife. Leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh. 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 It's black and white. Black and white, just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. Just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh. 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 It's black and white. Black and white.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome back to the British Boring Car Championship. My name is Chaz Draycott, here with you once again for another incredible season. And wow, is it good to be back. Wow, is it good to be back. It's been so long. It's actually quite scary how long it's been since we were last on track at Silverstone, where Dennis Melcher wrapped up the title last season. It's pretty crazy. I'm just too excited. Absolutely, unbelievably excited. We've even got the MLG air horns out. Everything is going to be a real party this evening. We've got all the guys out on track at the moment. We've got 14 of the 20 cars at the moment out on circuit. We're here at Snetterton on the 200 layout, the shorter layout, which we'll be coming to later in the season. And what a place to go as well. It's one hell of a circuit. But I decided that after last time, I thought we'd go to a circuit where we're not going to be starting the season straight away, because previously we had all the pre-season testing at Brands Hatch, and then we went over to that circuit again for rounds 1 and 2. So it was a bit inconsistent with the fact that you shouldn't really use the pre-season testing for the very first round, and everyone got sick of Brands Hatch GP. Here is the calendar for the rest of the season. 9 race meetings this season, starting off on Thursday this week in 2 days. 2 days' time, we're going to be starting off at Donington Park. And it's very, very exciting to be here and to be going there as well. What a circuit that is. Then you can see Silverstone International is the second round, Brands Hatch GP in middle of November. And after the first 3 rounds, well, between the first 3 rounds, there is a 1 week off for the Sim Racers World Formula 3 series that I commentate on. And then from then on, it's straight weeks. It is 7 straight weeks to end the season. 2 visits to Alton Park this time, and that one on the 12th of November at the Foster Circuit is going to be incredible. We then go to Donington Park again for the the Grand Prix Circuit. Get it out, Chaz. Then you can see the 26th of November, we're back here at Snetterton on the 200 layout. Then Brands Indy, Alton Park Island to set up another finale on the 17th of December at Silverstone, where we again will be under lights. So, I hear you ask, who've we got racing this season? Well, you can see on the left-hand side we have a new format for the numbers. So you can now easily tell people's car colours and also what class they're in. The independents are the ones with the blue squares, as they have the blue number boards. Oh, apologies. There you go. You should be able to see some cars now. Oh, rookie mistake already. Absolutely terrible stuff. That was pretty painful, wasn't it? Right then. Andy Fox, currently 5th. We're going to go through the teams. This, of course, this car that Andy is driving was the championship runner-up last time out. Dave Waldock and Dennis Melcher are the only 2 drivers from the top 10 of last season that aren't actually back this time round. So Andy Fox takes over that car. He finished 7th in the championship last season. His teammate is Michael Blake, who finished 5th. Good to see you, Tanguy. Good to see you, Hedge. Great to have you guys around. Now, one of the most interesting teams that we're going to have out there is one of the new teams on the block. We have 2 new teams this season, so 4 extra drivers. And it is this man, Matt Draycott, for Team Red Ring. I'm sure you all recognise the livery. Himself and Josh Rayfield are teammates for this season in a very strong lineup. Matt won the Independence Championship last season, of course, and Josh Rayfield was incredibly exciting to watch all season long. So those 2 have teamed up for that one. The other new team on the block is also a very exciting lineup. We have Jake Robertson, who, well, I was just about to say he's an iRacing World Rallycross Championship driver, and he's showing us that he's probably better on off-road stuff at the moment, but he's racing for Bordeaux, if you'll pardon the pun, which is obviously a mock of the Peugeots from 1998. And he's been very, very quick indeed. The winning team last season was actually Might Just Fit, but the one with the winning driver was Ericsson Hitters. Liam Silkstone, top of the times at the moment, and his teammate Rob Lundgren will hopefully be in the session a little bit later on. But there is Liam going down the straight now. Fastest time at the moment, and goes even faster as well. Very impressive. We have Dodgy MOT back once again like a renegade master. Niall Crowther leading that team this time in the number 10 car. He has a previous independent in Ben Lambert joining him in that team. Number 24. Oh, there's a bit of a moment there ahead for Carl Jacquelet, who retains his seat for this season. He stays in the number 42 car at Team Netcode, and he has with him Michael Ellett, the South African driver, in the number 48, as he has a little bit of a moment of his own. You just saw there Maciej Sakovic, who takes over the championship-winning independent Arena International car this time round. Maciej is a previous BSR Kia Club Series champion, very fast in front-wheel drive cars, so not only will Maciej be looking for independent glory, he'll be actually looking for potentially overall glory as well. Team Jane Fonda are back with a new driver. Ben Williams lines up alongside Derek Robb this season. Derek not here at the moment. I think he's just going to be a little bit late, but Ben running in the number 75 machine. Just getting used to the car at the moment as Andy Fox goes up to second place, as you can see all the cars streaming around. Tom Jacobs and Steve Burke make up a very strong lineup for Nodaphone. Tom Jacobs finishing 4th in the championship last time out, winning 4 races last season as well was Tom. He's the second most winningest driver in Boring Cars history. His teammate Steve Burke was very fast at the end of last season. Another independent that has shipped out. We've actually got 4 brand new independents. Another one of them is Calvin Dent in the Matt Neal machine, the Team Dry Mannix car as I've called it. As you can see, just cars bobbling around all over the place. You can, of course, hear the pit sirens as well on the way in. And another independent that is great to see out there. Paul Smith joins us. I know that Paul will most probably be streaming this evening. And he takes over the car that Steve Burke drove last season. The other independent is Michael Jones, who's having internet troubles at the moment and may not make the first or even second rounds of the championship. But you can see how close it is. Not even a second covering the top 9 at the moment. But it's Liam Silkstone for Ericsson Hitters that is leading the way. And we're used to seeing one of those cars near the front. So maybe Liam is going to make that the case again this time. And in all honesty, I wasn't expecting Liam to be one of the front runners immediately. Tom Jacobs take a bow. I told you that Tom was quick. He takes the top spot at the moment, a 122.885. And Rob Lundgren is in the chat. Good evening, Rob. Good to see you, mate. How come you're not racing? But Tom Jacobs then takes the top spot. That's Andy Fox just behind him on circuit. And the drivers this season, you'll see here, they have driver suits. They're very hurriedly made. But they do have differing driver suits, sort of similar to the ones that the drivers would have had in the time as well. Maciej Sakovic got a nice faded one to match his livery. Tom Jacobs and Steve Burke in white ones as well. It's just tyre squeal, no matter where you look. It's just tyres being abused. But Matt Draycott and Josh Rayfield, they're known as the Wenger Boys, or the Wenger Bus, because the pair of them seem to believe that listening to the Wenger Boys gives them some extra boost when they're racing along. Sakovic just moves up there ahead of Ben Lambert into 11th place. But the cars, you'll notice, all have white wheels this season. It's an update that iRacing have made to the Jetta, and there was nothing in the release notes about it. But the cars previously had silver wheels, and in comparison, I think the white wheels look absolutely wonderful this season. I'm a big fan. They especially suit Andy Fox's Vauxhall, because that car used to run white wheels. So it looks very much in place. Same with the Team Jane Fonda cars as well, of Ben Williams. And, yes, Matt Draycott's suit, as Jack Werrell has asked for. You'll see, if you look at his feet, they asked me to paint Vans as their shoes. So I've made some sort of effort towards that. They've slightly got them. It looks like quite a shiny suit for some reason. Not quite sure why. As the dashboard doesn't want to go away. Brilliant. We seem to have had an issue with the overlay there. Apologies for that. We'll just reload that. And it's still not reloading. Brilliant. It's always fun, isn't it? Always fun. Just bear with me 1 second, everybody, and we'll get that going. Oh, there you go. It's caught up now. It's caught up now. It's technology. You cannot rely on it. Yes, Rob. Yeah, the session's still joinable, mate. There's been announcements about it all week. About the fact we've got pre-season testing on, so I'd hope you could jump in, please. Maciej Sakovic, though, you know, he's got... There's an interesting mix here I am checking my messenger, James, and I'm not replying yet. Love it, mate. Love it. Thank you very much and welcome. Welcome to the stream, buddy. And congratulations as well, James. Congratulations indeed to you and Sarah. But as I was just about to say, Maciej Sakovic, he's got... It's in league sessions, Rob. That's why. Maciej's got championship winning credentials here. Not only is he really fast, I say this as he's down in 13th place, but he's not driven the car in a very long time. But he's driving the independent championship winning car from last season, and he's also using the driver number that won the championship outright as well in the hands of Dennis Melcher. So some definite championship contention there. Here's Ben Williams and Liam Silkstone. These two are teammates at Excite iRacing. And having a bit of a play by the look of it. The two Team Netco cars are 9th and 10th at the moment, number 42 and 48. That's Jacqueline and Ellett. Both of their names with E-double-T in them, so that hopefully won't get confusing. Ben Williams has a bit of a moment there. Oh, Liam Silkstone, over you go, mate. Pirouettes as well. Is he going to land it? No, the car bounces around as it does as Ben Lambert enters from stage left. That was a real big moment there for Liam Silkstone. Let's go on board. Turns it in. I can't believe that Ben Williams managed to find space on the left there. Liam left him no room at all, and oh, over he goes. Now it's slung around on its side, and it's that hit with the ground. The wheel just bounces him around as Ben Lambert goes off in the background. Real nightmare for him there. But that just shows you the physics of the Jetta. It's a very bouncy car. It does move around quite a lot. Jake Robertson's gone off the circuit. I really don't know why it's not there, if I'm honest, Rob. You might have to close the UI and open it again. If you go to leagues and then league sessions, it's maybe because qualifying's begun. Yeah, it's not looking, it's not showing up for me actually either, so it's probably because qualifying's begun, mate, because it's a qualifying session. There have been announcements about it all week, mate. Magic's now down to 13th with Paul Smith just ahead of him. Yeah, I've seen bumpers and boot leave the cars as well, actually. It's an interesting point you raised there, Jack. I don't think there's a new damage model as such, but I think that they've got more bits that are removable now. You don't see the bits bounce around or move quite as dramatically as you do with the new damage model on some of the other cars. But maybe in this case it just gets rid of them in one quick go. We've got Derek Robb in the chat and Discord, by the way. That's fair enough, Rob. No problem, mate. Derek Robb is in the chat. You can see his teammate just ahead of Niall on circuit there, Ben Williams. Niall Crowther, by the way, if you look at his windscreen banner, he's got little yellow triangles on it. And Ford started adding these little triangles towards the end of the 1990s and in 2000 to differentiate the drivers. Alan Menu was running the yellow triangles, Anthony Reid with blue, and Rickard Rydell with none. And I just thought it'd help pick apart the white from the yellow text between Niall and Ben, as they share the same livery pretty much. Only their car number is different from one another. So how are we all doing? Have we missed the British Boring Car Championship? Because I won't lie, I have. I thought there was a long time for me to get stuff sorted, and then all of a sudden I got back from the Nürburgring and bam, it was like, right, you've got boring cars in a week and a bit. And I hope you all enjoyed the trailer as well. The trailer was a lot of fun to make. And thank you as always to David Addison for his commentary. I'm meeting up with David tomorrow. Yes, you can have a Might Just Fit livery ganders. Meeting with David tomorrow. We're going to discuss things for later in the season. We have already mentioned, well, I've already mentioned to him about Season 2. And there is potential that he'll be back again to commentate. Just only on certain rounds, as you can imagine. He's got a very packed schedule now, with seasons being so compressed. Look at Andy Fox really pushing the car around at the moment. That's going to have scared him a little bit there. As you can see, Jake Robertson just coming in the pit lane. Moonbeam, I've not heard that name for a while, Hedge. Wow. That's some going. Steve Burke is also in the Discord chat as well now with these drivers. So out of the 20 that are racing this season, we've got most of them here. I'm very much looking forward to Thursday as well, Robert. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. I can't wait. And to do it at Donington Park as well. A very, very good circuit. Just loving seeing these cars out on track again. It's great. Absolutely great. Everybody except Paul Smith at the moment. I'll say that. Tom Jacobs has just gone back to the pit lane. Oh, as Andy goes off. I was waiting for him to meet the wall there. That was Ben Williams just going through. Oh, Liam Silkstone's gone off on his own again. Oh, there's a real bit of damage to that car there. Let's have a look what happened here. He's got Calvin Dent in there with him. Now, I did give these two a bit of a smack on the wrist after the format test the other week. As, oh, Liam's done it himself, and into the wall he goes. There's a big hit on the front as well, to be fair. It's easy to do around there, though, because you're going around a left-hander after such a high-speed part of the circuit. And it just breaks away from you, and there's not really any saving it. Calvin Dent goes up the order with a 123.307. Ben Lambert improves, now putting Magic Sakovic to the bottom, so ignore what I said earlier. Magic is looking for pace at the moment, it seems. In the number 88 car. Running a little bit wide out of Brundle and Nelson. Down towards the bomb hole. But Tom Jacobs over a 1/10 of a second clear of everybody at the moment. He'll be very chuffed with that. Look at the cars just scrambling for grip around there. That's Michael Ellett just behind. Oh, he has a bit of a moment on the way in. Michael Ellett currently in 8th position. Calvin Dent. Oh, Calvin's had his own off. In the same corner as... Oh, that was Josh Rayfield going off as well. Apparently Smith uses grip packs. Please ban. Good to see you, Ash. How you doing, mate? Here's Calvin having his moment. Ooh, that was a big hit into the wall. Again, that front left absolutely destroyed on that car. But he's straight back out again. Liam Silkstone is really an interesting one for me. Was not expecting... I don't think that curb was expecting him then. That was a big one. A big hit against that curb. Magic Sakovic has improved his time and gone ahead of Paul Smith, who's in the pit lane. Only a second now, covering 13 cars. So again, just shows you how close this championship is. I'm very good, thank you, Ash. Very good indeed. Hope you're well. I'm just very excited to see these cars again, honestly. I've been watching replays and obviously going through footage and so many of the replays to try and get the trailer sorted. Here's the two dodgy MOT cars together. Flying down the straight line astern. Ben Lambert and Niall Crowther, childhood friends. Niall currently 9th in the number 10, and then Ben Lambert propping up the time, so only 1.2 seconds off, and it's really good for Ben because, I mean, we all know... Oh, Ed's... Oh, wow. That was a bit of an off for Ben, to say the least. But we know that Ben struggled last season. He hadn't done any proper league racing on iRacing before, and he jumped in and got straight on with it. And Sakovic improves. This is Calvin Dent really pushing that car to its ragged edge at the moment. I'm just wondering now, I don't know if Steve Burke and Derek Robb can get in either, you know, because Rob Lundgren couldn't get in. And Steve and Derek, I don't think can get in either. That's a real shame if not. I'd hope that they could. I'm just going to reload the UI in the background, just see what I can get sorted for these guys. Because I want to be able to get them in, obviously. I don't want them to miss out. Because some of them may have, you know, stopped plans or something to be able to come and do this. So I don't want them to miss out. No, it does look like that there's no way of getting in. That's very strange. Sometimes you can usually get in a session as long as qualifying isn't finished. That's very odd. Very odd indeed. That's a proper shame, that. So I think this is the maximum of the cars that we're going to get. We'll go on board with Calvin Dent then for a lap and see what he can manage, shall we? You can see just how hard you've got to ride the curbs in this car sometimes just to get it pitched in. Qualifying's the cut-off for the session. If I would have known that, then I would have made it a longer practice session. That's such a shame. There's Calvin Dent really ragging this car around. We are seeing racing, yeah. This qualifying session is just to make sure that the guys are doing clean lap times without incident points for the majority, so we see true pace. The roar of the engine. The British Boring Car Championship is the real name of the series. They're boring cars, and it's a play on the word touring cars, as opposed to the British Touring Car Championship. And for the extra irony, in case you didn't know, Blue Flag Alpha, we actually have David Addison from the British Touring Car Championship commentating. On certain rounds, that is. I just love seeing them, you know, the liveries, even though they're not exact replicas, and obviously they can't be for legal reasons, despite the Audis, in inverted commas, having the big Audi logo down the side. It's part of the Volkswagen group, which iRacing have the license for, so, yeah. Oh, Liam Silkstone attacking those curbs hard. This is Josh Rayfield, car 6, P6 at the moment, just ahead of Draycott. His teammate for Team Red Ring is Magic Sakovic, I'm thinking, is maybe on a fast lap here. Although he may get an incident point if he hits the back of Liam Silkstone's car. Rayfield, third fastest. Great stuff for Josh. We knew that he was going to be quick this season. He was quick last season. I mean, you've seen it in the trailer, I'm sure. The move around the outside of eventual champion Dennis Melchett was great to see as Paul Smith goes and does some farming. Here's Northern. Off onto the grass, a long way off onto the grass. Must be cooling his tyres, definitely. Someone in the chat mentioned that before. Silkstone has actually gone fastest with that time, you know. I missed that. I was too busy looking at Rayfield. As Robertson back up to 4th place then for Bordeaux. Not the prettiest of cars, but still a very a great livery to have a homage of. As he stops at the side of the road to then go back to the pits, I imagine. And yes, it was your best qualifying last season, wasn't it, Rob? Rob Lundgren. 5th on the grid, I believe, if I've got that right. Look at Andy Fox attacking these curbs, trying to find every single 10th and just make that tiny, tiny little advancement on the drivers ahead. He's currently in 6th after Josh Rayfield improved on his times. We've got half a second covering 7 cars. As up the order goes Calvin Dent. Calvin Dent now moving up into 6th place, and by some distance the highest placed independent as Jack Alette improves on his time ahead of Magic Sakovic. And the race format this season, Ian, is a very interesting one. We have the 15-minute sprint race, so we'll have an hour's practice, 15 minutes qualifying, and then we have a 15-minute sprint race. But in the sprint race, the top 10 positions on the grid are reversed. So if you actually qualify fastest, you end up starting 10th on the grid. But for your troubles, Jack Alette gets all 4 wheels off the ground. For your troubles, you get 3 points for pole, 2 points for second place, and 1 point for third. So it's not all completely wasted if you end up in 10th. So those drivers that have a chance of pole will not be sandbagging. And then there's a half-hour feature race with a pit stop where drivers must take 2 tyres, and the grid is the result of race 1. So you need to be careful in that first race to get yourself a good position on the grid in race 2. And what I'm going to do, guys, I'm just going to have... We've got quite a bit of time left here before... The race is planned to start at 9 PM. And I feel really bad on the guys that haven't made it in. So what I'm going to do, if it's alright with you guys, is I'm going to get in touch with these guys. I'm going to cancel this session. We're going to get a new one set up, because I don't want any of these guys to be missing out. So I'm going to get a new session set up. And if you just give me 10 minutes of your time, I'll get everything sorted out, and we'll be back again very, very shortly. The stream's not going to stop. I'll keep the stream going as best I can. I'm going to speak with these guys, though, so there will not be any music for a minute. But we'll be back very soon, and we'll get another session going and get these guys back on track. Just bear with me. Thank you very much for your patience, everybody. Just got everything sorted now with the drivers, and I've had a chat with everybody. Apologise to those that couldn't get in. I wasn't aware of it, but apparently the qualifying starting is now the cut-off for being able to get into the session. It used to be when qualifying ended. So, yeah, that's rather frustrating. However, we're able to get in now and watch and get on with it. We're going to have half an hour's practice, 15-minute qualifying, and then a 15-minute sprint race with the top 10 on the grid reversed. As it should be in the British Boring Car Championship. Thank you very much for your patience, everybody. We're just loading into the sim now. I'll be 2 seconds, and then we'll get back on. Okay, as you can hear then, we have cars back out on circuit. Andy Fox, the first of those to go back out. Everybody is registering for the session. We've got a couple more this time round, which is nice to see. Like I say, guys, I'm very sorry about that one. Not good enough from me. I should know about these little details and these things that change season on season, but here we are. Back with cars on track. Matt Draycott just getting out on circuit as well. And the number 3 Team Red Ring machine, Calvin Dent, in his independent Matt Neal car. Steve Burke is in the session, which is good to see. So is Derek Robb. Rob Lundgren also will be in there. We're just going to be waiting for some guys to put times on the board. The one that's furthest around a lap at the moment is Andy Fox, who is just coming around the second to last, around Coram. And yes, Hedge, I know, it's not good enough, mate. But that's why we do a pre-season test. Can you imagine if this was the first round of the season? It'd be worse that way. Let's go on board then with, hold on to your hats, Andy Fox down the straight. Andy finishing last season 7th. Any cars, by the way, that have a number from 1 to 10. Oh, look at that, chucking it through turn 1. Any cars that have a number 1 to 10, that's where they finished last season. So there's a mandatory numbering system for that. Great stuff around that first sector. Draycott and Robertson both doing their outlaps as well. We're expecting to see guys in the 122s over the course of this session. You can have a refund if you want, Hedge. Oh, Andy! Oh, no. Andy, absolutely no. The car just broke away from him there. You can see it. As he turns in, gets onto the brakes, the front end digs in. Look there, it just shifts very quickly over, and then bang, the left rear and the front left. Didn't hit the wall too hard though, actually. Oh, that left rear showing signs of damage though. It's knocked the arch in. Interesting to see whether Andy carries on, actually. This is our first look with Derek Robb out on circuit this season. Great to see Derek out there. Derek was one of those drivers that had a very slow start to Season 1, but over the rest of the season really improved massively towards the end. He just got caught up in a couple of incidents in the last few race meetings that really stopped his championship charge. And as you can see, finished 9th. A 122.3 for Jake Robertson. That's a fast time, that is. Steve Burke is in the session. So too, that we didn't see last time, is Rob Lundgren. The pair of them just getting into the session still. So they're not quite in their cars yet. As Derek Robb puts his first time on the board. Paul Smith back out there. Keep an eye out for Liam Silkstone as well. Look at Josh. Josh Rayfield. He's known as Mr. Send It. He really does send it. I might have to fix that final camera at the last corner as it keeps morphing into the marshal's post. Andy Fox has gone off again at the Nelson Brundle complex. It's not an easy corner to get right in these cars. I know a lot of people that say, yeah, driving the Bora is easy. I ironically call it Bora. Driving it's easy. It's getting it to go fast, as you can see. Matt Draycott, independent champion, flinging that thing around. Jake Robertson moves across the front of him as they go down the straight together. There is the view back from Robertson's Bordeaux machine. Tom Jacobs, a 122.8. He was saying that he didn't think anyone had beat his lap from earlier on in the practice session, but when he saw someone beat it, he was very, very surprised. Into Wilson. Through the left-hander onto the back straight, onto the Bentley straight. Magic Sakovic just behind them here in this as well. Chasing them down. This will show you just how difficult this part of the circuit is. You can see the back end wants to get away. Jake's car hopping around. Not only have you got to control the slide, you've got to also get it pointed into the right as Rayfield, Lambert, Smith all improve on their times. Steve Burke and Rob Lundgren have done laps, but just out laps at the moment to try and get used to the cars. Although I say that. Yeah, there is Steve Burke. And here is Rob Lundgren. Although some cars seem to be appearing and reappearing on my screen, which is very odd. It's very odd indeed. Here's Josh Rayfield. Through the Nelson Brundle complex he goes. Paul Smith just behind him there on track. We do seem to have everybody, other than just a couple of these guys, in the pit lane. See what I mean about the disappearing? That's very odd. Not sure whether that's an internet issue at my end or something. Let's have a look. No? Although the Q bar has filled up slightly, as you can see in the top right, so something must have gone a little bit wrong there. That's never good. Here's Niall Crowther just going around Coram into the final corner. Very difficult circuit to get right is Snetterton. Even on this short layout as well, it's not easy. Doesn't look like my internet's playing up. The stream seems fine. Just bear with me. Let's go on the graphics settings, shall we? Yeah, max 40 cars. Let's change that to 40-20 on both. Let's get rid of the dynamic LOD on cars, shall we? Must be a bad PC. I'd hope not. As Liam Silkstone, newsflash, has rejoined the session. Yeah, every time I flick between them, that's really odd. That's really odd, isn't it? It's like the distance. Like I click on Niall and he's over the other end of the circuit, so it like refreshes Who is where? That's very odd indeed. I've not seen that before. Because according to my timing screen, there are only 6 cars on track. But if we click on Paul Smith, there goes Niall, and then boom, there's Paul. Oh, don't you love technology? Don't you love technology? Another issue for Chaz this evening. That's what you like, isn't it? Yeah, more rambling. That would have definitely been the one. Definitely, mate. We've got draw 40 cars. On both. How very strange. Let's bump it up. Stuff it. Oh well. We'll have to deal with it, I'm afraid. Oh, God. This is why we do these tests. This is why we have a media night. As Paul Smith's had an issue and he's gone off the circuit. What's happened there, Paul? Oh, back end away from him again. Easy to do, though, isn't it? Easy to do. So, Jake Robertson, your fastest car on circuit at the moment. Look at this great little... Oh, Draycott decides that... Yeah, he doesn't want to stay on that part of the circuit anymore. Jumps out of the way. Ugh. How very annoying. So I wonder if we do this. Yeah, it doesn't seem to generate any other cars other than these 6. How strange is that? I've never seen that before. I'm just pressing V in the sim now to get it to go to the next car that it's rendering. And it's not rendering anyone other than those 6 drivers. Man. Let me click on Jake. There he is. It's something to do with like the proximity of the other cars around it or something, isn't it? How very, very odd. Great to see these cars going down that straight. They may not be going the fastest that we've ever seen down there, but they really are going for it. And these drivers do push these cars to the limit. Oh, there's a bit of a moment there. Yeah, apologies everyone for that issue. It's a very odd one that I've never experienced before, so we're going to, just for the sake of it, I know some of these do require a restart, but we're just going to bump that up to full on both. Why not? Maybe something to do with the live timing. Maybe if I get out of the live timing and back in, you never know. Oh, as Matt Draycott goes screaming off the circuit. As that sounded like a very big hit for Matt Draycott. He's back in. Let's have a look. He goes down the inside of Jake Robertson. Flicks it to the left. Flicks it to the right. Oh, that was a massive hit. And I think... Yeah. Of course, Josh Rayfield flying in there. Oh, Josh. Now, Lundgren and Silkstone are at the bottom of the pile here. In the two iRacing Hitters cars, 89 and 94. That's odd in itself, isn't it? Wow, Adam. Wow. That's that's a brave comment. Fair enough. Here's Steve Burke and Ben Lambert. Steve Burke is definitely one to watch this season in my eyes. He was very quick at the end of last season. Just needs a bit of time to get reacquainted with the VW Jetta TDI. That's a bit too hot into the final corner, Steve. Nice save, though. Flings it in. Ben Williams is interesting to see. He's actually second at the moment. Doing a good job. Josh Rayfield third. Calvin Dent in fourth. So 3 of those are new names to the championship. Jack Worrell saying his money's on Robertson, Silkstone and Rayfield having a fight at the top. That's an interesting little call. Got 10 minutes of this practice session left to go. Before we get into qualifying. So some of these times, don't forget, could have been, as the boys do some lawn mowing, some of these times could have been with an incident point or two. They're not always clean laps that count in practice. That's down to qualifying. I just want to apologise for everyone that's been watching this though so far, thinking, God, this Chaz doesn't know what he's on about. This is a shambles. It's technology making me look like an idiot, is what it is. And probably me making myself look like a bit of an idiot. This is Andy Fox, though, all over the back of Jake Robertson. It's good to see some of the independents up there. Paul Smith in the top 10, Calvin Dent in 4th place. Last season we had a lot of the independents fighting up front. I don't think any independents took an outright race win. I don't think they did, actually. Just trying to think back now whether they did. I don't think they did. We didn't have an independent win a race overall last season. Derek Robb, currently in 10th place. He's now ahead of Paul Smith as, jumping up the order, goes Michael Ellett into 6th position. Good stuff from Michael. I think I know what this is. I think I know what this issue is, you know. Let me just see something, because somebody earlier mentioned to me something about groups in practice. In practice, you get what's called groups. So you can choose who is in the same group as you. Not choose like who goes in with you, but you can choose which of the groups you go in. And I think some of these guys know that and have gone to the other group, so you can still see the times of the other drivers. That's very interesting, actually. What we'll do, I'm not sure what the language will be like, but we'll get him in and try and play it safe. Matt Draycott joins us in the box. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah.
Struggling
a little bit.
Yeah, it seems like some of the guys from last season aren't quite on the pace of some of the new blokes. I was going to just ask, though. Now, I'm having an issue with my overlay here, where I click on one driver and it only shows me about 6, 7, maybe 8 drivers. You mentioned a groups situation in practice earlier. Is that the case here? Is there anything that you know of that is splitting the drivers into 2 groups?
No. Not that I know of.
Okay.
I think there's majority of the new lads aren't obviously used to it, whereas some of us are just trying to get used to the car again.
Oh,
because, hey,
I just played a soundboard clip by accident. Sorry.
Because a lot of us are obviously we're just trying to pick up from where we left off, which is actually quite difficult in this thing. But I'm not a biggest fan of this track, I must admit. So going from a Audi GT3 that I was practicing with before to this is a bit of a difference.
Yeah, I can imagine it's worlds apart, to be honest. It does look good, though. The Team Red Ring. How excited have you been about teaming up with Josh ahead of this season? Because I know that Josh was very game for having a faster teammate. No disrespect to Carl, but he was in the chance of even fighting for the title at one point, was Josh, last season. So to get the team points together, do you reckon you'll be a force to be reckoned with?
Yeah, it's all down to whether he can keep consistent, because I was consistent last season. He had a few unlucky rounds, but he seems to pick a fight quite a lot. And I have said this to him, that he just needs to not do that, and that'd be great. But it is one of them. It's obviously sometimes in racing you can't quite get the pace, or you get unlucky with people rejoining and all the rest of it, and you get caught up in other people's fights, which you can't really get rid of sometimes. But
yeah, it's not always. You have to sort of just get on with it and see what you get thrown at you, don't you? In a lot of these.
Yeah. I am currently in 9th, so that's not great. I'm about to go faster, but I don't know how fast.
Let's have a look, shall we? And up to 8th, just ahead of Andy Fox. As
P2.
Paul Smith improves as well and goes up to 11th. And Jake Robertson says he thinks he's splitting it because it's a heat racing format, which usually splits drivers without the heats. Interesting. Very interesting. Oh well, we'll have to see. I think qualifying it might put everybody together, but here's hoping, because if not, then the whole season's going to look rubbish. But good to speak to you, Matt, and we'll catch up with you later.
Yeah, no worries, in a bit.
Cheers. Well, that's not ideal, is it? So if I click on Michael Elliott, everyone's going to disappear, and then suddenly Michael's going to appear. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. Some of the guys were in a practice session earlier, and they were saying, which group have you chosen, or which group are you in? So you can join one session and see everybody's times, but be in a different group, if that makes sense. So there's not a million cars on track, there's just, say, 10 of you. So that's interesting to know. Very interesting indeed. But I hope you're enjoying it so far. It's just good to have the cars back out on track, isn't it? Here in the British Boring Car Championship. It's just nice to have that whir of the diesel engine. 2-litre turbo. 168 horsepower. These things. This is Michael Elliott that we're looking at the moment in the Team Netcode car. Josh Rayfield and Carl Jackalette driving that car last season. Here's Rob Lundgren, by the way, in the background, the number 89 car. Sorry, it was Liam Silkstone in the background. Rob's just coming into the start-finish straight. As he gets across the line, puts it in the wall and decides that's the end of his lap. Here's Niall Crowther just going through turn 1. The number 10 is P10 at the moment. Paul Smith is 11th, not even a second off the pace. It's very close between Calvin Dent and Tom Jacobs, by the way. in 4th and 5th positions. Only 8 thousandths of a second separating the pair of them. And that's the thing, well, this car isn't the fastest thing in the world. You do see some incredibly close qualifying times because the margins are that much smaller. It's so hard to get that extra tenth out of the car. Silkstone really pushing. He's 6th at the moment. Across the line he goes. Is that an improvement? Obviously in practice you can still get a lap in while you have an incident point. Look at Elliott, Draycott and Fox, by the way. 644 thousandths from 657 and 667. That's very close on its own, to be fair. There's Steve Burke in the Vodafone car. You can always identify Steve from the very bright green visor on his helmet. He has the blue windscreen banner on the number 8 car this season, and Tom Jacobs has the red windscreen banner. Thank you for the follow on Twitch, by the way, Thorbrander. Carl, thank you very much, mate. And someone I do want to have a quick chat with while he's ragging it around is Andy Fox. Andy, welcome to the booth, mate. How are you doing tonight?
Very well, Chaz. Very well. You?
Yeah, if technical gremlins weren't all over me, I'd be
sorted out.
absolutely fine. But yeah, it's just good to see the cars back out. How are you feeling being in Might Just Fit, and obviously a very quick car from previous ahead of this championship?
I'm looking forward to it. Been itching to get back out, get back to some competitive racing in them. And I think it's going to be, looking at the times now, it's going to be very, very close at the top amongst, you can pick anyone from 10 or so looking at it, so it's going to make it interesting.
It certainly is, and you've got a good teammate in the form of Michael Blake, who unfortunately can't be here this evening, but there's having the pair of you in those Might Just Fit cars, obviously reigning teams champions as well. There's some pretty big shoes to fill that you've got right there, aren't they?
There are, but I think we'll be up there this year. I have a strong feeling about it.
And what do you think of some of these new boys coming in? I mean, we've got 4 of them in the top 6 at the minute, so they're certainly making their mark, aren't they?
Oh yeah, there's none of them that are slow. They're all up there and as you say, making the mark in it. So
should be good to watch, mate. Should be very good indeed. I can understand you concentrating, mate. Don't worry. It's
fine.
It's all good. Well, it's only a minute and a half till qualifying, mate. So we'll chuck you back in. But best of luck with it, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much, Chaz. Cheers.
Cheers. Andy Fox there, really top character, really lovely bloke, and like I say, he has got some big shoes to fill this season. Jumping in what was Dave Waldock's car from last season, the championship runner-up. He was leading the championship into the final race meeting, but did not pull off the job in the end, I'm afraid. This is Paul Smith, who will be streaming this right now, twitch.tv/Smilerbull. Smiler is in S-M-I-L-E-R, and then Bull is in the animal. Races for Team Mad in a lot of different iRacing events. Oh, a bit of gravel. We've got 17 cars, which is already more than the biggest grid that we had last season, which is nice to see. And there's one of the other new independents, Calvin Dent, just coming through the final corner. That looked like a nice clean run out of there. He's only 3/10 off the top spot at the moment, just under 4/10 off. We've got 4 seconds of the session left now, so things are going to get interesting here as we go in towards qualifying. I'm intrigued to see what happens actually with these groups. It's very frustrating to see, and I'm sorry everybody that that has kicked off the way it has. But that is the end of practice then, and as you see with the humongous glitch. Oh, good to see you, Dennis, mate. Good to see you. Got a lot of cars in one another there. This practice is now finished. The drivers get out on the circuit for qualifying, and from what I see, I think it is. Yes, it is doing things properly. It's not splitting them into groups, I don't think. Got a lot of cars that haven't taken to the track yet. Oh no, it is doing that thing. That's very frustrating, isn't it? Thank you very much, Dennis. Thank you very much indeed. So does that mean that Paul Smith, say Magic Sakovic, where is Niall Crowther on circuit? Yeah, Niall Crowther's there, so these guys can't see one another on circuit. So we go back to Niall Crowther. This is very odd. So it has split them into two groups because there's no heats. This is only for this format, by the way. We do have a heat race in the form of a sprint race in the normal format, so this is just something we're going to have to deal with for this round. We'll go on board with Niall Crowther as he gets the first of his qualifying laps of the session underway into the final corner. Gets it nicely hooked up. No curb on the left, which is one of the important things here. And he gets on with it. Flying down the straight here at Snetterton. It's always a great place to stand as well, is that straight at Snetterton. As the outlaps pile up on the board. And it's Williams that does the fastest outlap. Not that that means anything. Look at the torturing the tyres there. As, oh, Niall's run wide already. And that, unfortunately, is not going to help him out. You've got Tom Jacobs and Steve Burke there, the two teammates just behind him. And these guys are going to be working together as best as they can. Down the straight, getting a bit of slipstream there. That's the red banner and the blue banner. Tom Jacobs with the red banner, number 4. Steve Burke, number 8, with the blue banner, as I said before. Quite easy to tell apart from the front, which is nice. Through the right hand of the bomb hole they go. The compression at the bottom of there really does chuck the car in. Tom's looking quick at the moment, though. He was giving Steve a bit of slipstream before. I'm not sure whether Steve's just hanging back to try and get more of a slingshot this time round. You can see the visual understeer. Tom chucks it in. Nice and quick through that final corner. He runs quite wide, though. I'm not sure whether that'll give him an incident point. We'll have to see as he goes for the line then. Let's see what these guys can do on some of the very first hot laps of the session. Jacobs 122.8, Paul Smith 122.9. Very impressive from Paul Smith compared to his practice times. Steve Burke a 122.9 as well, so they're nice and close. Andy Fox a 123.1 in 4th position. There he is. Rayfield up to 2nd for Team Red Ring. 72 thousandths of a second off Tom Jacobs. Jake Robertson at the moment hasn't put a hot lap in. He's done his out lap, which was a 140.4, so he's taken a very slow out lap to try and make the most of this fast lap. He's now slipstreaming Andy Fox as they go down the straight together. Down towards Brundle and Nelson. Oh, Andy's taken a bit of a wider line on the way in. He's lost it and he's gone straight on. Jake ignores it, carries on as best he can. Real shame that for Andy. He's really pushing hard, though, as he said before. He's hoping to be right up there. He reckons they will be. Great to see Paul Smith at the top of the independents. Just in case you are wondering, the cars with the blue highlighted squares on the left-hand side are the independents. It's the mediocre Cup for independents as opposed to the Michelin Cup for independents. And oh, Jake's wide there at the final corner. Not sure whether that'll be an incident point. It's Ben Williams, top of the pile. 122.7. What a great time that is by Ben. Let's see what Jake can do. 6th, the 123.0. At least it counts. Rob Lundgren just behind him there. Going into 7th. Where's Magic Sakovic? He's in the pit lane. So too is Josh Rayfield, who's about to get going back out on circuit. Paul Smith taking new tyres. But there's your current pole sitter, Ben Williams, for Team Jane Fonda. Let's keep an eye on Ben this season, shall we? Himself and Liam Silkstone and Jake Robertson all showing that they've got good pace in these cars, which does throw it up in the air a little bit. Ben really pushing that car to the limit through there. Great to see. Magic, Sakovic and Paul Smith have both come back out on track, potentially helping one another as Magic goes way deep into Wilson. Paul sort of slightly following him wide there. Lundgren's gone back into the pits. But here's Ben Williams just coming around the final corner. He's just over 1/10 of a second faster than Tom Jacobs. Hugging the wall all the way down the straight, Ben Williams. Across the line he goes. 1:22.818. As Niall Crowther goes up to 10th position. There he is. Yeah, it's definitely split them into groups, hasn't it? That's very strange. Like I say, I think that's just something we're going to have to deal with in this round. Or this pre-season test. I just love seeing that livery, to be honest. Oh, Niall shows us the bottom of it. Manages to not run wide there as Steve Burke does. Steve off the circuit. Ben Lambert had an issue not long ago. What's happened to Ben? Is he going to spin it on the way into here and go and hit the wall? Oh, that back end's gone. That has gone. Oh, big hit off there and into the wall he goes. Such a shame. Niall now back into the pits. Steve Burke is going to go on for another hot lap. So 2016 Brit Car Class 2 champion. So Steve definitely has the quick driving credentials. He's not even a quarter of a second off the top spot. Rayfield third, Paul Smith in fourth. As Michael Elliott take a bow. Go on, son. Third place in the Team Netcode car. This series is going to really be thrown up in the air in comparison to what we saw last season. We've got half a second separating the top 10, 9/10 of a second covering the top 14. Sakovic isn't having a good time of it at the moment. He's just trying to get a lap in. He's only done his out lap as a clean lap. I feel that this may be his first flying lap completed. See what he does. There you go, 1:23.1 puts him into 10th place. So strangely, Silkstone is at the bottom of the cars that have qualified at the moment. Ben Lambert hasn't done a clean lap, and neither has Derek Robb. Steve Burke's gone off again. What has happened to Steve this time? He doesn't want to show us. He really doesn't want to show us. Great stuff. That's because we weren't looking at him at the time, isn't it? Oh, iRacing. But Michael Elliott, though, very impressive in third position, the number 48 car. His teammate Carl Jacquelette, 7/10 off the top spot, down in 14th. Liam Silkstone, 15th at the moment, 9/10 off, and he was fastest in the original practice session that then got canned because I'm an idiot. But this is the bit where we don't disturb these drivers, we just let them get on with it. There's 11 of them, all in one Discord chat at the moment, and they all do talk quite a bit while they're driving and getting on with the job, which is nice, you know. There's a very good social atmosphere in this championship. That's Tom Jacobs with his teammate Steve Burke just behind. Don't forget, you can look at chazdraycott.com for any upcoming information. And if you go to chazdraycott.com/boring-cars, which I will put in the YouTube chat in just a moment, you'll be able to see even more information and all of the championship info as well. You can even get the rule book downloaded from there too. As Silkstone further up the order now into 8th place. Does Jacobs improve? He does not. Does Burke improve? He doesn't. Jake Robertson is the one that goes top. Sorry, that caught me off guard. Just at the same time. Wow, Jake Robertson. What a time that is for Bordeaux. The new team on the block as well. We've got 3 of the newcomers to the championship in the top 4. Jake Robertson, though, iRacing World Championship Rallycross driver. Definitely showing his worth at the moment. Races for Apex Racing Team. And he has got some good poke in this car. Andy Fox is down in 10th at the moment. He won't want to be there. Draycott down in 13th as things stand. Paul Smith will be happy, though. He's the top independent at the moment. So, as David Addison was saying last season, he could be the most mediocre, whether that's a celebratory thing or not. But the number 33 doing a smashing job. He's got Maciej Sakovic just ahead of him on track there. Derek Robb still hasn't put a clean time in yet, I'm afraid. Ben Lambert has, but it's a long way off the pace. So these guys are just going to be hoping to get around here incident-free. And we know that Derek's got good pace in qualifying. He put it right in the top 3 at a couple of occasions last season. At the final corner, he's got Matt Draycott and Jake Robertson ahead of him. Jacobs goes back to second place. Burt goes second, a 1:22.5, and Derek Robb does a 1:31.2. That'll be his outlap then. But it's 2 Vodafone cars in the top 3 then, with Steve Burke and Tom Jacobs. I said they'd be one of the teams to watch this season, and that's great from Steve Burke. Great from Tom as well to get back up there. 0.004 of a second separating Michael Elliott and Josh Rayfield. Paul Smith is only just ahead of Calvin Dent as well, with Liam Silkstone in 9th place. This is oh so close. This is very competitive again. 15 cars separated by a second as things stand. Niall Crowther down to 14th place now for Dodgy MOT. He chucks it in. He's got his teammate Ben Lambert just behind him there on track. At the final corner he goes. Bit of a blip from his internet there. Maybe it was mine. We'll have to have a look. No, it seems like mine's okay. Sorry, Ben. I do really sincerely hope you enjoy this championship, though. I've been so excited to get this back underway. And this may only be the pre-season test, but it kicks off properly on Thursday. And I, for one, cannot wait. We've got a 15-minute sprint race coming up after this. There would be a 15-minute sprint and a half-hour feature race on a usual occasion, but iRacing's being a... So we're only having the 15-minute sprint race this evening. But we will have half-hour feature races with a pit stop as well as the season gets underway, and I can't wait to see that. The feature races were very exciting last season, but the format wasn't tweaked very well, in all fairness, because you got more points for your finishes in the feature race. It was a more rewarding race. And if you had a bad result in race 1, you could end up with a good reverse grid for race 2. So drivers were having a bad race 1, ending up at the front of the grid for race 2, and then sailing away and getting easy points. So this season you get the same points for both races. It's 15 points for a win, then it's 12, 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the top 10 get points. As Ben Williams, a 1:22.428. What a brilliant lap time for him. No slipstream either by the look of it. That's amazing stuff. But the top 10 get points in these races, and it's the same amount of points for the sprint and the feature. So you have to work just as hard in the feature race as you do in the sprint. They have to take 2 tyres, so we'll see an improvement of pace again when the race gets closer to the end, or whenever they decide to pit. Draycott goes up into 10th, just ahead of Andy Fox. And Jake Robertson's on an outlap, which is interesting because he's only got, I think, 45 seconds left to go before the session is over. I'm not sure whether he's going to make that. We'll have to stay... We'll keep a close eye on this. I don't know whether Jake's going to make this, you know. How far around the lap is he? He's only just 60% of the way round a lap, and it's 1:20, so I don't think Jake's going to make this. He's got 15 seconds, and no, he's not going to be able to get another fast lap in here. It's not quite worked out for him, I'm afraid. As we've got Calvin Dent off the road, so let's have a look which drivers are coming across the line then. Andy Fox to the line then. The session, checkered flag comes out, and that's it. Straight up, done. Game over. Wow, that was harsh. Very harsh. So, Ben Williams, Jake Robertson, Steve Burke, Tom Jacobs. That's your top 4. Then it's Maciej Sakovic, Michael Elliott. Okay, overlay, please. Please. It's just moved on to the next thing because it skips the feature race. So we'll just try and get the results of qualifying up. So Ben Williams and Jake Robertson with Steve Burke and Tom Jacobs, as I said. Then it's Maciej Sakovic, Michael Ellett, Josh Rayfield, Paul Smith, and Calvin Dent. Then it's Liam Silkstone, Matt Draycott, Andy Fox, and Rob Lundgren, with Niall Crowther, Derek Robb, Carl Jackalette, and Ben Lambert at the back of the field. So for some reason, though, we don't seem to have cars out on track. iRacing really needs to sort this heat racing thing out. Either that or it's because I've tried to do it in this very silly way. Apparently everyone out of the race. Yeah, Jake is mentioning some sort of issues. Jake, what's the latest, mate?
I think everyone's stuck on the wait screen. I think the green flag's already gone.
Yeah, it has actually shown green flag on my screen, which is really odd. I've not got anyone. Is anyone sat in the pit lane from where you see them?
No.
Isn't iRacing a wonderful thing, Jake, without swearing? Okay, right then. So it looks like another shimmy around is in order. Maybe, yeah, it has just gone straight to it. So there's no warm-up session, is there? Which there should have been beforehand. Right, I'll chuck you back, Jake, and I'll have a chat with everybody in a sec.
All right, cheers.
Right. So this has been a farce, I think is the safest way to say. Don't expect this video to hang around on YouTube very long. Again, just give me a little bit of time, everybody. We'll figure something out here, and I'll be right back with you. Apologies for this. Right. So, session is going up. We've organised the grid because you can do it manually in the UI, which, you know, the UI's actually got a use, which is nice to see. I'm so sorry about all of this. I've just apologised profusely to the drivers as well. And, yeah. It's just very frustrating. I mean, it's only because of this format. You know, we've tried to get it to work in this format this evening with one race, and it thought that nobody from qualifying went through. I told it to put 22 drivers from qualifying through to the heat, and it didn't do it, I'm afraid. So, yeah, very odd one that is. But we're just getting into the session now then. Or trying to anyway, at least. 2 jobs, Hedge. 2 jobs. Honestly, it's cost me a bit in sessions tonight. So we're just reloading in. Can have some music for a minute. I'm just going to go get a quick drink and I'll be right back. Thank you very much, Dave. Good to see you, mate. I certainly will do. To be fair, this is just because it's not the same format as when the season actually gets underway. We've tried to do it as one race, and it's just made it a complete mess. Complete mess. And it's my own fault. I should have just got on with it and done a normal race meeting, really. But you learn, don't you? You learn. But yes, thank you very much, mate. I certainly will. I'll chuck you a message when I can. I've got to pick a Beth up from a train station very soon.
Black and white. Black and white. Just black and white. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. Just let me go, it's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. white. It's black and white. It's black and white.
Down the end of the straight they go then. Into Nelson and Brundle. Very difficult corner to get right. And we'll grab a word with Mr. Burke, shall we, and see how he's getting on. Steve, welcome to Season 2, mate. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it?
It certainly has. Thanks for having us in Season 2, Mr. Chaz.
Not a problem at all. I'm like I say, I'm very sorry for these technical issues, which is a lot of fun, but thanks to iRacing for their amazing heat racing system. How are you feeling ahead of this one then? Teammate this time round with Tom Jacobs. I mean, we've obviously, the three of us have been a good unit before. You and Tom have obviously worked together a lot in GT cars. How do you feel having him as your teammate alongside you for this?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm hoping it's gonna help push the team forwards. Being an independent last year, you weren't being helped by anybody. Everybody was, against you, as it were. Me and Tom, there aren't going to be any team orders. We will be racing, but we know each other and there's respect there. And I think certainly it helped in qualifying, as you saw with the drafting and things. So
yeah, well, that's it. It's all about the teamwork, isn't it? And I think the drivers' market between seasons of having drivers able to sort of make some sort of choice of where they're going to go and who they're going to be with, it's really going to heighten the teamwork this time around, because last time it wasn't people that had necessarily been friends before, if that makes sense. So it's added an extra element, hasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's been good for the series, and obviously we get to drive what is definitely the best livery in the season. So
love it, mate. Well, I know that after Niall got the number 23 last season, you weren't too pleased with that either. But now you've got your livery at least, so it's good to see. We're gonna let you get on with it, mate. There's 1 minute and 20 left of practice, but thanks again for taking part this evening, and of course, good to have you in the season. And we'll speak to you again soon.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Steve Burke there, top bloke, really top bloke. Fast driver as well, very fast indeed. Tom Jacobs has just gone third fastest in this session. That was Maciej Sakovic just behind, all over the back of Carl Jacquelet. Maciej is, well, he was the fastest independent in qualifying, but he's actually going to be starting, I think, third out of them as Jacquelet tries to block him off down the inside. Oh, big wheel bang there as well on the exit. As they get together, Carl decides to straight line it, get the car out of the way, and that's going to go back to the breaker's yard. Here's Matt Draycott and Steve Burke having a kiss, I think, down the straight, just getting reacquainted with one another, kissing wing mirrors as they come down towards Nelson and Brundle. This will be an interesting one to keep an eye on. Matt turns it in, somehow still makes the apex of the corner despite the tight line and manages to make it through. No, never mind. Bit of grass tracking. He's absolutely got his foot planted. His Sakovic sideways in the background. Draycott stays ahead of Burke somehow. 15 seconds left to go. And finally, I've got my fingers crossed so many times. Finally, let me just say thank you, everybody, for your patience while these technical issues have been going on. I promise it won't happen in the full season. As Draycott mounts the marshal's post there at the very end, and the checkered flag comes out. And we should, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, we should have a grid. We do. Liam Silkstone then takes pole position from Calvin Dent, Paul Smith and Josh Rayfield. Michael Ellett and Maciej Sakovic are on row 3. Then it's Tom Jacobs and Steve Burke with Jake Robertson and Ben Williams rounding out your top 10. Matt Draycott then lines up alongside Andy Fox with Rob Lundgren, Niall Crowther, Derek Robb, Carl Jackalette and Ben Lambert rounding out your field. So there's your pole sitter. Liam Silkstone. You can hear the Porsche safety car just ticking over in the background. Finally, though, finally, we're going to get... Wait for it. Oh, there you go. Finally, sound effects, get on with it. But pre-season testing in Season 2 of the British Boring Car Championship is away. Calvin Dent gets no luck off the line, bogs down quite a bit, although he doesn't lose anything to Paul Smith. Josh Rayfield and Michael Ellett have swapped places. Sakovic is on the grass. It looked like Robertson was completely sideways in the background. Let's have a look what happens here. Any shenanigans around turn 1? Anybody making friends? Jake Robertson's gone very wide through turn 1. We've got cars off. That's Sakovic and Williams up front. What's cracking into the hairpin? Oh, there's a few guys running deep. Sakovic into the side of Ellett. As he comes back on, there's contact with Burke. The two of them rubbing doors. There's cars off in front of them as well and behind. That's Andy Fox all over the grass. Calvin Dent's managed to hold on to second place. Paul Smith right behind him, though. This is proper touring car stuff. We've not lost anybody yet. Niall Crowther and Ben Lambert have unfortunately dropped a bit further down, but look at Paul Smith down the inside of Calvin Dent. That's for the independence lead as well, don't forget, not just for overall position. There's a bit of argy-bargy. Oh, Paul mounts it up on two wheels. Calvin Dent down the inside. Let's have a look further back. Draycott there side by side with Ellett. Look at the two dodgy MOT cars at the back. Niall Crowther and Ben Lambert having some sort of choreography going on. Now it's his Rayfield down the inside of Smith as they go around Coram, leaning on each other. Bit of a wheel bang and another one and another one. Paul's gone straight on. Oh, and Josh is off as well. I think Paul squeezed him a little bit there. We've also got Ben Lambert off. We've got more cars off on the exit of the final corner. It's kicking off. Ben Williams has gone back to the pits. Something serious has happened to Ben Williams. Now, where's Paul Smith in all of this? He's actually leading across the line. He's got an almighty slowdown, I imagine. But Silkstone leads them. Tom Jacobs is getting 4 places on lap 1. He's going to be second overall. Calvin Dent just behind him. Then it's Maciej Sakovic, Steve Burke behind him. So the two Nodaphone cars making progress. Then it's Draycott, Ellett, Lundgren, and Derek Robb has gained 5 spots. A bit further down, Rayfield's got a slowdown penalty. That must have been for going off. I can hear contact all over the place. Go through the right, through the left. Hold on to your hats. Paul Smith's still slowing down. That penalty really did hurt him. I want to have another look at it, though, because it was just a bit of a squeeze, if anything. Let's have a look there, where Rayfield ends up. So Josh is on the inside. He's on the white line. Yeah, and it's that initial wheel bang, and Paul just doesn't leave the room, and he gets absolutely launched. Ben Williams has his own issue. Oh, he's got big damage to the car, and around it goes. And I think that's going to have been the end of his race there. So, still kicking off. Liam Silkstone leads the race, though, for Ericsson Hittles. And this is the interesting thing about this format now with the qualifying. It does move them around a bit. Sakovic is taking the lead in the independence class as well, but he's got damage to that front right. And look at the train behind Steve Burke. Matt Draycott doing some sort of bungee cord impression there around the final corner. Jake Robertson's having issues out the final corner. What's happened to Jake? He's had a couple of these moments. That's Josh Rayfield in front. There's a bit of argy-bargy going on between the two dodgy MOT cars. Oh, Jake tries to get out of the way. Oh, Josh just runs wide. There's a bit of a touch. Into him he goes, and Jake's actually come in the pit lane as well. They get a drive-through penalty if they get 15 incident points. It's 25 maximum for the race, and they'll be disqualified on the spot. This is Michael Ellett in 7th place with Lundgren, Derek Robb, and Paul Smith right behind now. Paul's going to be ruining that incident before. Listen to the roar of the Jetta. The all-out power of diesel. And this is only the sprint race as well. We are going to have half-hour feature races as Tom Jacobs has taken the race lead. Oh, and Ben Williams is around. He's a lap down and he's in the way of everybody. What's happened here to Ben? Oh, he's in amongst it still. Oh, he's gone in way too hot. He's going to clip the grass. Oh, no, he gets drilled by Burke and hit again. I want to see Jacobs go past Silkstone. So he's got the run down the straight. Calvin Dent and Magic Sakovic has gone up to second place, by the way. So this is Jacobs getting the move done. He's going to go round the outside into the left and then through to the right. Paul Smith has gone into the pit lane, so I think he must have hit the incident limit. Oh, Liam not leaving all the room in the world there. And look at getting absolutely drilled there, Ben Williams. Everyone else was very lucky to avoid him. This is Sakovic, by the way. We're going to stay with him. Oh, he got a really good exit out of the bomb hole there and overtakes Liam Silkstone down the inside towards Coram. Bit argy-bargy there with everyone. That was Ben Williams going back in the pits. It is very elbows out stuff at the moment. A lot of them have got a couple of off tracks each. But Tom Jacobs actually with a 1.2 second lead now at the top of this race. He's then got two independents behind him, Magic Sakovic and Calvin Dent, with Liam Silkstone in there as well. Oh, it sounds like Calvin's just had a bit of a hit from Liam. And look at Lundgren in the background all over it. Oh, Crowther's off. Crowther's into the wall. Swings it around again. Paul Smith's a bit further down the order now as well after coming into the pits. So it's all kicking off here in the British Boring Car Championship. Living up to its name, as you can imagine. This is the battle for 7th, 8th and 9th. Lundgren ahead of Ellett, ahead of Derek Robb. Very close together with Carl Jacquelet just behind. Don't forget the top 10 get points. Closest two cars on track are actually these pair. Sakovic now with Calvin Dent right behind him. Into turn one they go. You can hear the tyres screaming for mercy. Majek goes over to the right to defend. Calvin gets on the brakes early. Silkstone just behind him. Oh, Calvin hugs the inside. Majek manages to get the run off the corner though. Silkstone's now going to get the run on Calvin Dent. Two independents just ahead of Liam here in the Ericsson Hitters machine. That is effectively Dennis Melchert's car that won the championship last season that Liam is driving. In the background as well, Steve Burke has got past Rob Lundgren. Sorry, Rob Lundgren's got past Steve Burke. Liam hits the curb. It's right all over the back of Calvin. That gives Sakovic a bit of time to break away. Just behind them, Lundgren's got this train. Steve Burke, and look at that again. Lambert and Fox in the background. Andy Fox really hasn't made as many inroads as we expected on the cars ahead, but it seems very difficult to do so. Rayfield is now on the back of his ex-teammate Carl Jacquelet as they go round Coram. Into the final corner they go. Josh gets it turned in nicely. Tries to get the run off the corner, but you can see the bounce from the car. It just doesn't go anywhere. Nearly halfway through this race already. Again, I want to apologise for all the issues tonight, everybody, but as you can see, it's definitely worth it. What a race we've got going on here. This is only a 15-minute sprint as well. This is epic stuff. Lambert and Fox there side by side. Lambert down the inside of Andy Fox. Doesn't get it done. Rob Lundgren, though, still somehow holding on against Steve Burke, Michael Ellett and Derek Robb. Ellett later on the brakes keeps the position. Oh, it's Josh Rayfield down the inside of Jacquelet. Big damage to the left-hand side of his car. That was a big one, that. Don't think Carl saw him there. Silkstone has now got Matt Draycott right behind him, the reigning independent champion. Goes down the inside into Nelson through the left-hander. Liam manages to carry the pace around the outside and keep position. Draycott hits the curb very hard indeed. Lundgren's now got a bit of safety as Derek Robb mounts the curb after contact with Steve Burke. All over the shop. Oh, Jacquelet squeezes down the inside of Robb now. Through Coram they go. That'd be an extra point in the championship. That would be if he finishes where he's just gained the position to go up to. Behind this, though, Rayfield and Fox also trying to get in on this. But Tom Jacobs, 7/10 of a second out in front at the moment from Magic Sakovic. Carl Jacquelet, Derek Robb and Josh Rayfield all coming in the pits, assumingly for incident points. I did tell these boys to rein it in a little bit. And it looks like they've definitely listened to me. Not. Tom Jacobs, though, other than reigning champion Dennis Melchert, Tom Jacobs is the most winningest driver in the series. He had 4 race wins last season. He won the very first race of the season at Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit with his teammate Jack Werrell winning race 2 on that occasion. Further down the order, though, the closest cars on track are actually Carl Jackalette, Derek Robb, and Josh Rayfield after coming out of the pits, just ahead of Niall Crowther as well. Niall with a bit of damage to that front left, you could say. Sakovic is now 0.8 of a second off Jacobs at the front, but that damage can't be helping him here. Told you before, though, Majek is very, very quick as he runs a bit wide out of the final corner. Just under 10 minutes of the race down. 1/3 of it to go. The most winningest driver. Yeah, it's a very stupid word, isn't it, Ian? But it's a real word. It's the real phrase. Believe me. I don't like using it, but I know it's correct. Oh, Calvin Dent's in the pit lane. Maybe incident points. Looks like someone's been doing donuts in that pit lane there. Look at all the rubber that's been put down. Calvin taking tyres, it seems, for a laugh. Steve Burke and Andy Fox together again. There's Derek Robb. Is side by side with Carl Jackalette. There's cars all over the shop here. We'll give you the track map so you can just see where everybody is. If you've got a white or a silver car, it's a good place to be. At the front, Tom Jacobs leading from Majek Sakovic. Matt Draycott now up into 3rd place past Liam Silkstone. Let's have a look at how he did that. He's just going to get the run down the straight. Get the job done there, so we're not going to wait for him to go all the way down the straight, are we? These are the battles, though. Rob Lundgren and Michael Elliott, with then Andy Fox and Steve Burke just behind. All of them in the points. Ben Lambert in the points at the moment as well. Obviously no championship points given for this race meeting. But Ben will be happy to at least know that he's capable of a points finish by just keeping his nose clean. We've only lost Ben Williams from the race so far. Jake Robertson is way down the order. Paul Smith is off. Paul's had another incident. What's happened here? He's all on his own. I think the damage to the front right has not helped him here. Oh, it's just gone around so slowly and bang into the wall. Seen so many drivers do that this evening. There's Niall Crowther, currently down in 13th, and Calvin Dent in the pit lane again. Probably to serve a drive-through penalty. No apology necessary, Ian. It's a very, very strange phrase to use. This is Jackalette with Rayfield and Derek Robb just behind him. Down the straight they go. Rob Lundgren is still close with Michael Elliott as well. They've got Andy Fox right behind, who overtook Steve Burke on that previous lap. Very close stuff from these guys. Now I'm hoping that all of these lot have got it out of their system in that first couple of laps, because that was very argy-bargy. You can see just in the very, very background there as well, we've got this battle. Carl Jackalette with Josh Rayfield all over the back of him. Into the final corner they go. Josh tries to get a good exit, and he does. Gets a very good exit out the final corner. Derek Robb trying to follow him through and get the slipstream as well. Even further up, it's still close between Lundgren, Fox and Rayfield. Oh, no! Lundgren turns in where Andy Fox already was. Puts his nose... Oh, come on, boys. Puts his nose back down the inside. An extra argy-bargy, I'm afraid. Here's Josh onto the brakes. Still not past Jackalette. We know that Carl's a very fierce defender. He's really holding on to this. Jacob's lead now is just about a second from Majek Sakovic with 1 minute and 20 seconds left to go. So this next lap will be the final lap of the race. And look at this then. Rayfield still trying it down the inside at the end of the straight. Has he got through? No? Yeah? No? Are you going to do it, Josh? Are you going to do it? He gets a good run on the exit. Might be in front for the bomb hold. Don't think he is going to be. This is great racing. This is for the last championship point as well, or it would be. last theoretical championship point. Derek Robb's now in on this down the inside. These three all raced together last season. Josh is the only one that's not in the same car as last time out. He's a bit late on the brakes, looks down the inside. Carl's gone straight on. Josh needs to make the most of the run, but he doesn't. Derek Robb can't quite do it. We'll look back to our leader as Sakovic has gone off. Matt Draycott is not close enough to make a move. That's Paul Smith just behind him there, a lap down. Matt not close enough to make the move. There's Mazek Sakovic again. Wide out of that final corner, but looks like Tom Jacobs has done everything he needed to do. He started 7th on the grid after qualifying 4th fastest. That wouldn't have been any championship points for him. But he is the driver that, judging by the look of his car as well, he's certainly kept it clean. And I'm not sure if anyone else has noticed how quickly that timer is counting up, but that's a very strange one. Anyway, Tom Jacobs takes the pre-season testing sprint race here at Snetterton. What a brilliant result. Great drive. Maciej Sakovic second. Matt Draycott, reigning independent champion, finishes third. Liam Silkstone is going to cross the line in 4th. And on his debut, Michael Ellett, 5th place. Great job. Great job indeed. Rob Lundgren finishes just behind in 6th with Steve Burke 7th. Ben Lambert is going to get 8th place. He's very happy with that, as you can see. 9 places gained. Biggest mover in the field. Ben Lambert, take a bow. Nice stuff from Ben. Andy Fox is crawling across the line. Lets Josh Rayfield through. Josh Rayfield takes 9th. Fox 10th. 11th is going to be Derek Robb. Not quite sure what's happened to Derek. Carl Jacquelet has, for some reason, gone off the circuit here. We did look away from this. That's Andy Fox coming out in front. Oh, the two of them rubbed doors. And oh, that'll be Carl. That's disqualification for Carl at the very end of the race there. Calvin Dent has crossed the line. Paul Smith has crossed the line. And that means that the race, as it stands, has come to an end. But Tom Jacobs then is the first victor in Season 2 of the British Boring Car Championship from Maciej Sakovic. Only 1.3 seconds ahead. Matt Draycott taking 3rd position. Behind them was Liam Silkstone, the pole sitter, holding into a top 5 finish, with Michael Ellett started 5th, finished 5th. Rob Lundgren 6th, with Steve Burke just behind him, then Ben Lambert and Josh Rayfield, with Derek Robb rounding out your top 10 and taking up the final points position. Niall Crowther finished 11th, with Jake Robertson unfortunately down in 12th after the incidents early on. Same with Calvin Dent in 13th. Andy Fox classed 14th, with Carl Jacquelet 1 lap down after the disqualification. Paul Smith also lap down, and we lost Ben Williams at the start. So, going to see if anybody's about for an interview. And to be fair, one of the people I've wanted to interview over the course of the evening. And first and foremost, it's Paul Smith. How are you doing, Paul? You all right, mate?
You'd probably be better off interviewing me before that race.
I was going to say it was a lot more rough and tumble than I expected. There will be words being had, but all in all, how did you find getting back out in this car competitively tonight?
I'll barely say it was competitive. Well, it was competitive for half a lap until we got down to the right-hander after the bridge, and then
all
I
hell
got
broke
freight
loose.
trained. I mean, to be fair, I got freight trained, and Josh was to the inside, and I did squeeze him. In all fairness, though, to be fair.
Fair enough.
So yeah, I wasn't too pleased at just getting bashed out the way at the bomb by him. So I squeezed him back.
Yeah.
And that sent me off.
Yeah, it's the wheel banging in these cars, isn't it?
And then it was like, well, I'm going off.
May as well plant it.
I might as well do it properly and just get my foot in it and went across. I mean, to be fair, Josh also followed me across that way. I missed out on saving my slowdown penalty by 0.4 of a second.
Oh, no way, man. That's gutting.
But there you go. So that's why I ended up with a stop and hold. Then I lost it all myself. Got damaged, so I took the fast repair and came out in in with the two leaders, so I just had a bit of fun sitting around on their bumpers, annoying them.
Well, I was going to say it was a bit of a heart-in-mouth moment when Sakovic ran wide on that final lap, and then suddenly there was a car behind him. I was like, oh, he's going to go for third. And then it was all of a sudden like, oh, it's it's Paul, it's not Matt. But still, it was good to see that you managed to still get involved in that fight at least. Hopefully, though, on Thursday it's going to be a bit cleaner than that, because words will be had. Not necessarily yourself. Obviously, you admitted to the squeeze, which is fair enough. But yeah, there was a couple more incidents in there that weren't quite right. But thank you, of course, for turning up tonight, mate. And we'll see you on Thursday.
Twitch.tv/SmileBall.
There you go. See you later, mate.
Yeah.
Paul Smith there, getting involved from the very get-go. And someone that, unfortunately, was having a real ding-dong all the way through that until the end. Carl Jackalette joins me in the booth. Carl, that was, wow. First day back at school. Wow.
It was good fun. Really good fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Racked up far too many points for tiny little touches, which got me at the end.
But still, I'm glad you enjoyed it, though, mate. I mean, I'm just watching it now, to be fair. And people sideways everywhere and chucking it about every single corner. It was proper touring car racing again, though, wasn't it?
Oh, it's the real thing. Josh and I was having a great battle at the end. For the past 3 laps, I think it was. We were side by side through so many corners. It was brilliant. I absolutely loved it.
And I imagine you were trying to get one over on your ex-teammate as well, just to sort of say, aha, look, you've left the team now, look what I can do.
Would I do that?
Well, it certainly looked a laugh, Carl. Are you looking forward to Thursday now at Donington?
I am. A bit rusty. I've only been driving MX-5s for a bit, so I need to put a bit more time in this car. I was really struggling tonight to find the speed. But it's a funny car to drive. I'm not quite sure what it is yet. But sometimes when it all goes right, it comparatively flies. And if you haven't got it right, you're wringing its neck, but not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? It's an easy car to drive, but not to make it go quickly and carry the momentum, is it?
I just got the hang of it at the end of last season, and it seems to have eluded me at the moment. But hopefully it will come back quite soon. It just needs a bit of practice.
Indeed, mate, indeed. Well, great to have you again, Carl. Thank you very much, and we will see you on Thursday.
Looking forward to it. Donington National or?
Yes, yeah, Donington National on Thursday. It's going to be a belter.
We'll do some practice.
Thanks, mate. See you soon.
See you again.
Brilliant stuff to speak to Carl, and someone who had his baptism of fire tonight, his first round in the championship. Liam Silkstone joins me in the chat. Liam, that was feisty.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard everything that was going on behind me, but I qualified on pole and I got a bit of a run. I messed up turn 2, tight right-hander, whichever one it was, and then I must have got damaged from hitting a curb because I had no power compared to everyone else, and it was quite annoying. But no, I enjoyed it. It was all right.
And what do you make of racing this car competitively? Is it something you've done before, or is this your first time in any sort of competition with this car?
I think it's like the second time I drove it. The first time was a test round that we did a couple of weeks ago at Alton, which was getting to learn how to do it. Yeah. And then you put the screenshots of all the cars rolling over, and I was laughing. But I think I must have rolled it a good 9 or 10 times in practice. So I think I spent more time on my roof than I did the right wheel. But no, good fun.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, mate. It was a joy to watch, albeit with some questionable driving standards at times, but it is what it is. Just before we go to Donington on Thursday, is there anything that you're going to change or sort of switch up in your approach before that one, or is it just do what you did tonight?
I don't know. I think I was more shocked in myself when I think I qualified on pole for the first session, and then I was just trying to get a clean lap in the time after and just couldn't get the rhythm back. I think just do a couple of laps practice and I think I should be sound.
Well, I do hope that it goes well for you, mate. We'll keep an eye on it, but thank you again for joining in tonight, and we'll see you on Thursday.
No, thank you for running it.
Cheers. Right then, one more interview to do, and, well, how could we not interview him? Tom Jacobs, he won round 1 last season, and he's won the pre-season test this evening. Tom, you must be over the moon with that, mate, because you missed an absolute mess behind you.
Yeah, I could hear the other guys. They were all just moaning, oh, such and such has hit me, and I've got to drive through, etc. So for me to actually get through all the carnage as well on lap 1, going into the hairpin, I was pretty pleased with that. And then it was just a case of just picking Liam off, and then, yeah, off we went.
Indeed, you just ran with it from there. You saw Majek, though, in your mirrors. Did you think that he was going to catch you?
There was a couple of times, I think, as the tyres started to go off, I did start to pull away a little bit. We were lapping mid-23s to low 23s, which I think he was doing similar times. He did get within about 0.8 of a second at one point and then started pulling me in on the draft. So I just knew I just needed to get the toe down, really, and start getting the lines absolutely perfect before I made a big mistake. But yeah, gladly I didn't, so it was good times.
Well, I'm sure you're very happy with that win, mate, and some celebratory games of Among Us, I'm sure, will follow very shortly. But well done, and we look forward to seeing you on Thursday, mate.
Yeah, thanks very much, mate.
Cheers. Right then, we can finally chill a little bit after what's been a chaotic evening. Thank you, everybody, for all of your patience with the technical issues earlier. As discussed, standards weren't quite up to scratch today, so we're going to hopefully dial some of that back for Donington Park. But rounds 1 and 2 will be here from 7:45 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook and Twitch on Chaz Draycott Media on Thursday night. And finally we get the championship underway properly. I cannot wait. Tonight's been amazing all the same. Great to see the cars back on track, see how some of the new guys are getting on and how some of the previous drivers from Season 1 have been settling in. My name's Chaz Draycott. This has been the British Boring Car Championship. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you again very, very soon.